everybody. Hi, this is Greg. I'm just here. I want to say hi. I'm starting our program tonight. I just want to say a couple things. It's like, here's my kids. Hi! Everybody. So, hey, how you doing? Just what do you want to order anything? So I have the live camera going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much.
Hey there, how's it going?
I didn't even know it started yet.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, how's everything?
Good.
How's the kids?
Everybody's good. Everybody's here. Okay. So this will be our fourth meeting, actual fourth meeting. So we started in January. So January, February, March, yeah, fourth meeting. And so Sunny, it's good to see you here. How are you doing?
Really nice to see you. I'm doing good. Doing good. How's everything?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm actually on vacation now. Actually, the first chance I got to go to vacation in a long time.
Wow.
And so I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like really calm down when you have vacation.
Yes.
You're gonna have the free time.
But it's like, it also kind of get really busy. You have all the stuff you want to do that you ever get a chance to do that now you have to, kind of factor in and make sure vacation becomes like work.
Enjoy every part of your life.
Definitely. That's very much so. So what I have just a couple of things. Like, for example, my computer here. I'm trying to see if I can see the live chat because I've never done it where you actually see the live chat and information of it. So I'm not sure how to do that per se. Like, you're supposed to have it where people like start watching.
Because YouTube has that function, the live chatting.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was not, right now it's not live chat right now. So we're actually just kind of like talking to everybody and but yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, just I want to see if there's any chat stuff.
We're not even ready.
Oh well, it's just
It's all raw.
messages are visible.
We're raw.
Alright, some messages such as potential spam mean invisible live
I
chat.
don't know what is yours, Greg.
Yeah?
I don't know what is yours.
Oh, it's a box. It
Yeah,
has
they
a box.
didn't put it in a box.
It's in the box. Okay. Well, that's different.
Yeah,
So, did you have any questions ready? Any questions ready?
Question regarding.
Or do you want to order any food?
Well, just recently I had lunch at my mom's place. Okay, I can later.
Okay. Well, everybody know, hi, my name is Greg Valentine, and pretty much is my family. And this is Professor Sunny right here. And I'm Professor Sunny. Let me turn the camera a little bit so you can see one right there. Yeah, cool. It's Professor Sunny. And so we are flat earthers. And what flat earthers are is that we believe that the earth is not a globe. It's not
We're highly skeptical of the globe.
Yes.
The carbon consensus universe of the globe.
Right, very much so. We've come to understand this because it's like many things that happen in the news and in society and pretty much the news media and just things that we've constantly been taught with. What it tends to happen is that we follow the narrative because we've been told the narrative. And so one of the things that when you start looking into things, start seeing things differently, you start to open your eyes to view in different ways. So for example, there are many things out there that talk about how that doesn't make sense. And so as the more you look into it, the more you start saying, you know what, this shows that the Earth is actually, is actually flat, and it's not, not spinning in space or not in motion. For example, like the Michelson-Morley experiment is one of those, and also Airy's failure. Professor, do you have any to share about that? I can't put you on the spot, but do you have anything about
the curvature? Why can't you see the curvature? Because there's tests that have been done to verify the curvatures. We have the technology now. We have the high equipment, telescope camera technology.
Right.
Can zoom in an incredible amount of distances, and still yet cannot detect any curvature. That's like an empirical flaw now.
Yeah. And it's like no matter how far. For example, they say that the curvature of the Earth should actually be somewhere around the lines of every 70 miles, every 69 miles, you should be able to see 1 degree of curve. And so what happens is like when you have great distances. For example, there are different individuals who have. This gentleman, he has a camera, a different camera that can see over 500 miles, right? And when he looks at 500 miles, you can see from one area to another by using the infrared camera. So what it does, takes away all the moisture in the air, takes away all the things that usually block our view, that makes the atmospheric lensing for us in our eyes and how we see it. And what it does, it shows flat and level plane for.
And the sunrise and the sunset can be easily explained as well. I mean, the thing is, what happens is when people it's for them a hard time to believe these things because the sun, it feels like it's rising up and going down. But we can simply discuss that and what atmospheric refraction does and how it feels like a perspective illusion that feels like it's going down, but actually it could be receding away.
Right, it's moving away. It's perspective. It's like there's a couple of videos I have online that show about like I did like one of my dinosaur things where I had it where the everything's exactly the same size, but as you move it further away, it's like even though it's the same size, it looks like it gets smaller and smaller in the distance. When in fact it's actually it's pretty much the same size. It's like the same size here. It's based on our perspective, so we have the same fingers. I can even do that, like a little thing like that. You can see how it just kind of like as it goes back, it gets smaller and smaller in the distance. Based on our perspective. So I'm just saying that there's the sun itself is as it's moving overhead, moving away from us. It has the aspect where it looks like it's getting.
And it is tough for the most people because they think it's actually going down because when they see the sunset,
Yeah.
and I see something like that, it really feels like it's going down, but how would you know? We see the way. We see the way. Yeah.
So Mr. Sunny,
That's the thing.
what are some of the things that, for example, were you able to make I came with a list. I had a list of some of the things I wanted to share about. So I had a list of some things I was going to share about in regarding to some of the things. Say, for example, I'm on vacation, and that I mentioned it before earlier this morning on YouTube. I put it that. Do you happen to have a list or anything you'd like to share, or you'd like to talk to the camera about as I take a bite of my sandwich?
How to find a scientific empirical truth in this reality. That's my main goal is find scientific truth. For me, it pretty much turns out that the Earth has a flatter surface than it's supposed to have. Meaning, we were told the size of the Earth is about nearly 25,000 miles. 25,000 miles in circumference. And for the curve of the Earth's surface to happen had to be that formula, 8 inch miles per square. So every mile is supposed to go 8 inch, using that formula.
Right.
But we've done the measurements, and so far, there was no curve. So that's the main question. Why do we see obstacles at a certain distance now? At a certain distance, if the Earth were to be that amount of size, that is a huge question. And also, me personally, I'm observing like celestial bodies in the sky. You can see if the Earth were to be a globe, we shouldn't be seeing like southern stars, like for example Sirius, one of the brightest stars that can be seen now. The southern star, Canis Major constellation, all below that is observable, and we see that now way high up in the sky. In here, northern parts of the world, in Europe, Europe's the northernmost part of the world, North America. We see southern stars so high up. I mean, it makes more sense on the pattern model and the fundamental dome. But if it's a heliocentric ball, the northern star is supposed to be on this direction. The southern star is supposed to be in this direction. And due to that, all the curvature, how do we see the southern star from here? So that's the main question. And the star's rotation and all that accounts for it.
What do you think stars are?
They're just for me, it's just lights, like dots of lights in the sky, pretty much dots of light. How do we know they're billions, trillions light years away, balls of gas, maybe same size as the sun, even slightly smaller, or maybe exponentially larger? How do we know that? How do we experiment that? How do we test that?
Exactly.
Because so what we've done for the past half a century, we just put men on the moon, and we never did anything after that. We supposedly sent out satellites, the Voyager, outside the supposed solar system. How can we verify that for ourselves?
Exactly.
And the NASA and all these things, they've been really vague in their explanations. I really want to respect them. I really want to respect them as a true scientific entity, but the problem is that they haven't been transparent with us. They've never been transparent for all those years. It's now nearly 2020. What are we going to do? Yep.
My son asked me a question today when we were on the way here. He asked about meteorites. And what are your thoughts about meteorites?
Yeah, so they're landing probes on the meteorites. They have this thing and they give you this grainy footage. How can we verify that? So it looks so ridiculously surreal. So how do we verify that? So these are the vague evidence they give it to us, but we cannot experiment all this outside.
Yeah, I found that usually whenever they show anything, it's always some kind of CGI. They say there's never any pictures of
CGI,
satellites.
computer generated.
You never see, for example, they'd have a thing where they would talk about how the satellite goes up, or pretty much the rocket goes up, as the rocket's going up, starts curving, and it goes down. And then it goes back, and people are saying, oh look, when they do on the TV show, for example, they launch any rocket, they always go, oh look, there it is, it's going. Now we're going to switch to this, we're going to switch to the CGI.
They
dude.
switch all the live trees. They make it like
Little animation,
like
they have
a
little-
production. It's like a production.
And then people are cheering like, yeah. Everyone had the Falcon Heavy. The Falcon Heavy going up. You're like, oh, look, what's going up? And I was like, oh, let's switch to the, let's switch to the CGI mode. And then here we are. And like, oh, look, it's coming back down the line. Oh, look, it's yellow. Oh, it's landed.
All-
Look, it landed.
And so all the pictures when they landed probe on Mars and all this stuff, they give you this
Yeah.
footage, this picture, this still picture that looks incredibly like Earth-like kind of thing, but it has like a red filter, like a red tint. It feels like a Nevada desert or something.
Yeah.
They just put a red tint in it. I mean, it really feels like the rocks are like Earth-like rocks, and it's like so surreal to me, so
It
surreal.
reminds me, there was a movie, John Carter of Mars. You know, they had it at Disney, and at Disney, they made it, but before that, it was, where Edgar Rice Burroughs, he wrote the story of John Carter of Mars, you know, the gods of Mars. And what happened was, like, they had a thing where he had a lesser bone density, right? And because of his lesser bone density, he was able to do something like where he's able to, like, jump, really high. You know, so what happens, for example, they say that quote unquote the moon is 1/16 the gravity of Earth, right? And if all the astronauts being the same people, being the same weight, being the same body mass, 1/16 of the size of the Earth, what that means is that they should be trumping. They should have been like, ooh, you know, so straight up, straight over, 16 times, 1/16 is the gravity of, so you're 16 times stronger. So you'd be able to, like, you know, they'd have all this, they could pick up that car, they could jump clear across the field, they could jump straight up if they wanted to, you know, and they could do it. They were like kind of waddling like ducks and stuff. They were like waddling like penguins, you know, as they're doing this thing here. So and the footage, and they say when you fast forward the footage or just have it at normal speed, it's like normal speed. Like the dirt falls normal speed when the wheels are turning on the rover. And they say also about the rover too. Like, how do they get the rover off the ship? There's just two of them. How do they build this big old car? You know, and then where did it fit on the ship? And then when it came down, there was the rover. Okay, whoop, rover. So you know, I mean, yeah, as a matter of fact, it happened to have this book right here. All we did was fly to the moon. We looked at it before. All we did was fly to the moon, right? And so it's reversed. I guess it's reversed. So what happened here? These are all the these are all the different things about the moon. Please look at it. Please look at it. I'm talking about moon landing and all that stuff. Yeah. So this is actually a book compiled by the quote unquote astronauts who quote unquote went to the quote unquote moon. So this is pretty much information there. So you can take a look at it there. And so we were looking at it before with the family, and we were looking into that, and it's pretty much it was pretty cool. So I'm gonna take a little bite of my taco right here. Oh, we're talking about meteorites. The question about meteorites. It's actually something I haven't really looked deep into yet. The reason why I'm just saying about this is because I find it kind of interesting that meteorites are, pretty cool. You can actually, you look them up, but then the thing is, like, for example, I used to live in the Museum of Natural History. Right? I go there all the time because it's here in New York. It's over that way in New York. In New York, when New Yorkers say New York, they mean the city. Or they say the city mean, like, Manhattan. Whereas people who are outside New York, they mean all five boroughs, which is, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, So those are the five boroughs. But whenever a New Yorker says the city, we mean Manhattan. So when it's in the city, it's in Manhattan. I pretty much lived there, and I would go to the different wings that they have there. One of the wings, besides dinosaur wing, of course, because I'm a dinosaur fanatic, you know that. And one of the things we talk about too is that they have a thing where you're actually able to go and see the different meteorites that have hit the ground. And like most things in most museums, everything that you see is a replica. So even the dinosaur bones are not real dinosaur bones, they're replicas. So as clear as they look, they're replicas. So even the stone that they show you is replicas, and then they have they don't have the actual stones, of course, but what they have is an actual picture of certain things. So that's what ends up happening. You don't have the actual. So you have computer generated, computer rendered, or even like diagrams and dioramas. And so some of them are really cool. Eventually, I'm going to do like a live chat there at some point and walk around and show you some of the things that we've seen there. So I'm going to see that. Really cool. I'm going to another bite of the sandwich. So do you have any questions or anything you'd like to share with the people?
Yeah. So we question all these things, all these inconsistencies going on in our scientific field, mainstream scientific field, especially astronomical field. What's actually going on? We have to point out any inconsistencies and flaws, and we have to discuss this. So I consider myself now a practicing thermophysicist. I mean, I study thermophysics, studying the celestial bodies. But it is an alternative substitute for the mainstream astronomy, astrophysics. Thermophysics can debunk the claims of astrophysics, but they're claiming the heliocentric model, all the celestial bodies being light years away in an infinite space. The theory of gravity, knowing the theory of gravity, the theory of light traveling speed. So we discuss all these things and we put a limitation on that.
Okay.
We limit that and we study the celestial bodies ourselves to see, just to put those unlimited on those theories, because those theories, what astrophysics theories are unlimited. They give you unlimited theories, assumptions,
Right.
gravity.
Right.
They talk about the time control.
Like you talk about, like for example, like they say that on certain planets it rains diamonds.
And that sounds very
That's
surreal.
possible,
That
yeah.
sounds extremely surreal. So we limited that thing and we launched an alternative of the study. So yeah, the alternative study is the form of physics. We study celestial bodies, how they operate based on our perception.
Do you work with a team of other people?
Oh no, I'm doing this independently now, but I'm looking in the future to work with people.
Okay. Well, tell me, because I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm doing some future research. I'm doing some future research in these cases. Yeah, it's pretty much that.
Did you hear about today's the ISS? I said about how there's some fungus. There's fungus.
They
and
found
then
some
there's-
bacteria.
And bacteria. They say it's growing uncontrollably in quote unquote good tight spaces. I posted a link on my page. I talked about this and how it says about how they're supposed to have NASA certified air purifiers on board. And so what they do, they're supposed to filter out every single particulate, including fungal spores, including microbes, including bacteria. Okay? Supposed to know. So what happens? I sold like a lot of air purification. I sold air purification devices, and one of the things they said was that they're NASA certified. So for me to hear that NASA itself has the ISS is being infested with bacteria and fungus makes me wonder what bill of goods are they selling to us if their situation is being poisoned. They're supposed to have a sterile environment per se, And that's supposed to get you're supposed to go up there if you have a cold or you have the fever or flu or something. That's what they had in an Apollo 13 mission. He couldn't go because they said he was going to have the measles or something. And he didn't have it, but then the other guy had it. He got sick and he never had it. The Gary Sinise character never got sick. But in Apollo 13, the guy on board, I forget his name, the guy who played Bill Paxton's character in Apollo 13, he got sick and he was like, throwing his shots and stuff. Remember that? You ever seen that movie? Mm-hmm. I said, okay, cool. All right, well, what does this button do? Oh, cool, to change the camera, filter. What does this button do? All right, live chat, all messages are available. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty much cool. All right, cool. So then, something more stuff. So one of my friends, Orphan Ray, you see what happened on her channel?
What happened?
She got accepted to Mensa.
Mensa?
Yeah,
I saw your video.
Yes, it was really cool.
Mensa, what is that? Is that an institution?
Yeah, I actually had it ready so I could read it, but it's on that camera. It's on my phone, so it's actually like an organization that.
I saw the video.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So to get into it, you have to take a test. It takes a certain number of, couple of tests, and then the test you take, what happens is they'll build judgeability to handle the situation. You have 12 minutes. She said 12 minutes to answer, I guess, several questions. You have like 30 seconds for each question, or 15 seconds for each. I think 15 seconds for each question, and then based on that, would you ever take a test of that?
Like a test? Mm-hmm. You took some, you mean like a SAT?
Well, I mean, yeah, I've done that. All of us have to do that.
Like SATs and those exams. Yeah, it's kind of like that, like testing exam.
I do like a speed test though. You have like only 15 minutes, and so pretty much like that. So, but yeah. So I thought it was really cool. I just wanted to give a shout out to that because she did like a really cool thing about she did a presentation and she did an unboxing, an unveiling of the situation where she opened the stuff and then she read it online and that was just yesterday. So I was like, that's so cool, oh my goodness. So I thought it was really cool, so I wanted to share that. So I kind of posted all over my stuff in support of that. So there's going to be like another Flat Earth conference coming up. That's going to be, was it in Dallas?
Yeah, they're doing it this year. It's going to be in Dallas.
We hope to have one. I hope to have one here in New York.
Hopefully in the future.
I hope, yeah, maybe if not this year, maybe next year. But I hope like once we get like a lot of people coming to our events, we're gonna have more people, to be able to share and to meet.
Let's discuss these alternatives to the cosmology, to the perception of the reality we live in.
We should write this. We should write this down. We should like write down some of the stuff that's kind of on our mind that we need to like talk about for our next meeting. The next meeting will be in May, Lord willing. And so, do you Facebook a lot? You do a lot of Facebook?
No, I usually do
YouTube? Okay, YouTube. I have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr.
usually I'm on Facebook, but not all the time. But YouTube, like my main line is YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like mine, I used to Facebook a lot. I just kind of post like
Same thing. I did a few years ago. I was on Facebook.
and then now I do more Instagram than anything else. So I have like my dinosaur stuff on Instagram.
And plus on Facebook, I didn't keep my my profile. I didn't keep my personal profile. I make a fake profile, like a false profile, and then put a different name and different false information. That's not how I do it. But people know me. People know who I am. But you know I put the false information.
Yeah, we are who we are.
Because of my curiosity of the privacy going on, so I had to do that.
So, when exactly did you join or become flat earther? Or that you-
So yeah, it's been almost 4 years now, like 2015. So around later 2015, that's what happened. Later 2015, I was gonna watch the universe documentary about cosmology and everything, how the universe operates, how they work. Then I went down to, then I looked at the comment section, and then okay, now there are people saying the Earth is flat. Well, when I first looked at it, then okay, these people are just trolling. They're trolling, or they're just like isolated in a place. I mean, it's hard to believe that people that are isolated in a place believe that the world is flat.
Right.
Come on, in this day of age, we have the evidence that shows the spirit without those images, those pictures.
Yeah.
Those are evidence that the mainstream, scientific community, scientists space like NASA, all these spaces presented to us.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought of it.
Yeah.
And okay, then I was laughing. I was laughing so hard, my whole organ like burst. And then within like days later, then okay, I see more people now claiming that the world is flat. Now I think this is intentionally. I think they're intentionally saying this for some reason. They're not blindly saying it.
Right.
Intentionally saying it. Then I scrolled up to a video, and then I saw some video. Like the very first one was the mainstream one, like the Vsauce. I saw the map. That's where I discovered the map.
Yeah.
So the map turned out to be the United Nations, logo.
Yeah.
And before that, I was never aware that the United Nations logo had that map on it. I was glad to see it. I used to work at the Model UN when I was in college. I used to participate in the Model UN. I always see that logo. I always see that continent logo. I never realized that. So that's the first time I realized that there's actually a flat Earth map.
Yeah.
Then I looked into the Eric Dubé and Jeranism, then they explained the model to me, how the model works. It's not a flying disc going through space. It's actually enclosed, they're stationary enclosed, that there's a limitation in the sky. That's where I got a whole graph of the concept of the model. So how the sun and the moon operate, how the stars operate, at what speeds.
That's great. Because so when you remember you telling me before how when it hit you, it made you like kind of fall over. You were sick for days just thinking about that, and it's like, when did the light come on for you? The light, the exact.
Within like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2-3 weeks. Because so at that time, I was watching a series of Jeranism videos, American Gay videos. Then Jeranism introduced Mark Sargent. Then I started on Mark Sargent, and all this ODD, all these people coming out, D Marble, and all these people coming out.
Yeah.
So that's the same time all these people coming out, and then that's our discovery.
Mine is similar. When I was back in, I used to work at a law firm in the city, and I had this gentleman I used to play chess with. Whenever we had like a free time at work, we'd have like a chess table set up, and we'd play chess together. And so he's like from Russia, Ukraine. But anyway, so what happens like we would talk about stuff, and that was back in 2014 and everything. 2014, we'd be talking. And one day they had a conversation. They said to us, we were talking about like all the different bodies in space, all the giant planets. Talking about Jupiter and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune, and then they didn't talk about Pluto, but those are like gas giants, gas giant planets. Those Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter. And it's like they were saying, like, how do they keep without any mass to themselves? How do they keep within, why don't they collide with each other? Why don't they fall into the sun? Kind of thing, And then they were like gravity, And that just kind of stuck in my head, and I was like, gravity, always heard gravity, but then it never dawned on me that it was like, hey, it's like, what if it is gravity, What if it's something else? And then so when a friend of mine from Bible study, I went to Bible school. I went to 2 years of Bible school, then I went to another 3 years of Bible school. And in my second year to get my degree, I was going to go for a Bachelor of Science. A Bachelor of Science degree. I met a couple of people, and one of the people I met, she's Carly Sunshine, and she shared with me about the 200 proofs, and 200 proofs of that the Earth is not built by Earth today. And so I got through maybe the first 50 of them, and I was like, this is great, this is actually amazing. So the more I started looking into it, I was like, this is pretty good. And what kind of made me think was a couple things. One, at every level of altitude you go, the horizon always rises up to meet your eye level. So no matter how high you go, it always stays at the high level. It's supposed to start curving away super fast, because if you're on a ball, at some point you're gonna be here. You're gonna be able to see or not see. You're gonna see there's gonna be a part where it starts to think. But the person who's standing over here, I can't really see this here, but the person who's standing over here, it's like they're gonna be behind walls of curves. So this person will never see this person here. But when we find out with the whole thing with the lenses and we have cameras, I have to take a camera and then take a picture, and you can actually see the person that's over here. That would be behind the curve. So you're like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. You actually end up seeing the person that's not over here, but it's actually over here, because the fact of the matter is that you have the camera to zoom. So when I started learning about that, at every horizon, every altitude, there's level horizon that started getting my mind going. Then it was the Bible. In the Bible, it said about how God created the heavens and the earth, and in 6 days he created the heavens and the earth, and 7 days he rested. And the thing that got me was the word the firmament, because I used to, the whole thing, the reason why I like dinosaurs is because the Bible mentions the dragons, and mentions Leviathan, mentions the behemoth, mentions, and so we think the behemoth itself is probably like one of the apatosaurs or brachiosaurs or something. So it's like the behemoth in the Bible. And so Leviathan, I don't happen to have one of the mosasaurs with me or anything like that, but a Leviathan could be a mosasaur, or it could be something else that's different, but nevertheless it's a giant water reptile the Bible mentions, So, and he said everybody who's ever gone to attack it or whatever. The reason I'm saying about this is the Leviathan and the behemoth, because we have agencies out there that the Christian agencies that talk about how God created the world, and how dinosaurs fit into the paradigm, and how the bones of the dinosaurs fit into the flood, and how the flood, you find the bones because of the quick rapid fossilization, and how the bones itself became rapidly fossilized, where you have fish are in the process of eating each other, and they're the bones are preserved clearly and flattened by the pressure in the water. It's so fast, right? Like I said, the instantaneous. But for a long time, they always said that the firmament was the vapor canopy. It was like a vapor canopy. So they said about the firmament was a vapor canopy above the earth. So you'd have a thing where the earth was like this. The earth was like a circle, right? I can't really see. The earth was like a circle, and then I think I have another marker for me. I have a marker. The earth is like a circle, and then the circle would have the vapor canopy itself would. This is look better. Oh, it's so much better with the pen. The vapor canopy itself would come down when the flood happened, because the Bible says that the waters of the deep sprung open, right? The fountains of the deep sprung open, and the windows of heaven opened up too, right? So then, all this time when I was growing up, you have the fountains of the deep spring open, the water underground would pop up from underneath, and then the water in the vapor canopy would collapse too, and that would cause a flood. So you'd have, Noah, you'd have Noah on the ark. Noah on the ark with all the animals. He'd be safe when the water started to rise. So here he is, and you have the thing with the water. So when the water would start to rise, and he'd be safe because the water, would be there and it flooded the world for 371 days. The world was flooded, which is the whole year. 371 days, the world was flooded, right? But when I started looking into the whole thing with flat Earth, instead of how we talked about a thing called the bottomless pit, and I mentioned before that the bottomless pit is something where, it's a two-dimensional hole. A bottomless pit is a two-dimensional hole. It's not a pit that's like a three-dimensional hole. It's a two-dimensional. There's no such thing as a three-dimensional hole. A hole always has a top, and a middle. Or top and a bottom is what makes a hole, right? So if you have a hole that's like, a three-dimensional hole, it's kind of like you get pulled into like a black hole or something, and that's all theoretical because no one can really, the whole time the black holes are just, non-existent at all. But he just talked about like things that bend light and everything like that. But they're like a hole, a bottomless pit. A pit, by definition, is something you fall into. So anyway, so long story short, when it says about this, when the Bible talks about the bottomless pit, it talked also about the firmament and how God set the sun, moon, and stars into the firmament. It says it in Genesis. I have it here. I'll read it to you in a little bit, but first let me just draw my little diagram here. So it says about the sun, moon, and stars are all in the sky. The sun, moon, and stars are in the sky, right? And then you have the sun itself, and then the moon. So the sun is in the sun, right? And he said that these made these as lights. So you have the sun, moon, and stars are like lights in the firmament. The sun is one, the moon is another. The sun was designed to govern the day, and the moon was designed to govern the night. And he made two lights, a greater light to rule the day and a lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also, the Bible says. And so what happens is that when you do that, they are in the sky to shine light upon the earth. So there are light things. There are the lights like you see up there. There are lights. There are lights to shine light so we can see. Because, the Bible talks about in Genesis chapter 1 how it said, let there be light. And it was in the beginning, there was light before there was sun. It was light before it made the sun on day 4. It made the sun, and the moon, and stars. But there was, let there be light on day 1. So it said even in the morning was the first thing. There was day and night before there was sun and moon. Which is awesome. Awesome. God does. So when you have the bottomless pit now, the Bible says about how they're going to throw the Antichrist is going to get cast alive into hell. Now the Bible talks about how there's a bottomless pit, and there's the spirits that come out of there in the end, like three types of spirits, two types of angels that are going to be like they're held in the bottomless pit, and they're going to come up from out of there. So anyway, you can't have a bottomless pit on a globe. It just doesn't work because if you have a hole on one side. If you have a hole on one side, you're going to come out and you come out the other side. It's not a bottomless pit. If you go in this way, you're going to come out. And the way it talks, it's like it's a physical bottomless pit. It's a physical thing, a physical realm. And it says, and so outside of the dome that we believe is what we call the firmament, the Bible talks about the waters above. Because it says that he separated the waters above from the waters beneath. Down here is water, up here is water. And he separated the waters above from the waters beneath. And what happens is, like based on the scriptures, that these are something that we that when he opened the waters above, it came in and flooded the earth, right? And then the water went up, quickly flooded, and after that you can actually drain the water out in the bottom because it can drain out. Because when you were doing the Kola deep super the borehole in Russia, you know about that, right? The Kola the super deep hole they did in Russia. They went about 8 miles. They went about 8 miles deep. What happened was like when they got down there, going 8 miles, it's the furthest we've ever gone as humans in terms of how deep underwater.
That's the deepest hole dug.
Deepest hole dug by humans. It took them 24 years to do it, and they only got 8 miles. Okay, 8 miles. So when you have pictures of them showing what's inside the core and inside the earth, and what's inside the core of the earth and all that, and the circle model, the globe model, they really don't know because they've never been down there. They might say, oh, it's magma and things, but we have a magnet, right? A magnet that gets heated loses magnetic ability. So when you want to kill a magnet, you heat it up. So if, for example, the center of our earth is a iron core magnet, or iron core, that feeds our electromagnetic field, what happens is that the heat itself would cause it to destroy. But that's something there. What are some? How I got into it was like when I saw that there. Back to my thing, I started looking into it and I started telling my friends about it. I started telling my friends about what I believe in terms of the flat Earth, and then I just wanted to get their opinion on it, and they gave me their opinion. Let me tell you, I got like bombarded with all kind of thoughts and ideas. Because at first it was like, and I told them, say, I believe everything you guys believe. So it's like you guys have to kind of really convince me, or just show me what you believe, so I can be able to, make a decision or come back, come back to the other side. Because at first it was like, this is new information for me. I've always heard this one information we've been trained as kids, that the world is round, and that, there's the solar system is flat, but the solar system has all this stuff going around it, everybody's circling around the sun, as an elliptical orbit, so not even a circle orbit, it's an elliptical orbit, so they're going round and round about. And the next thing that he talked about is how how all these bodies in space are being held together by the gravity of the sun, because the sun is so massive that it holds everything, even as far as Pluto, into the grip of the sun. And what keeps them in orbit is that they want to fall into the sun, but they keep missing it. And then it's like, they talked about this, and so when he goes into all these things, I was like, okay, well, this is what we've been trained as a kid, but then they start saying, same thing with regards to the sun. Yeah, so, okay, we're back on again. This is the second there. So, okay, so, wow, that's actually what, we've been here for 35 minutes, that's so cool. Okay, so what I was saying before was that the things that keep the Earth in orbit and keep the sun and the moon and everything, and then the stars and everything in orbit around the sun, it's like they should all cancel each other. Or it should just be one line. It should be like one line. If anything, everybody just falling into the sun, because there's differences in speed, and you have, like, for example, you have Venus rotating backwards, rotating retrograde, and then you have different things going different ways, and
The physics is so perfect. When they say it's spin around, it seems all perfect over here, down here.
yeah.
Why we're in the supposedly Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
Same temperature, the Earth has to, in a slight oval shape over one sun.
Yeah.
So when we depict all these animations they give to us, all these shows, before they give us animations of how the heliocentric model works, based on the sun, the gravitation of the sun, and how the sun moves towards around the galaxy, Milky Way galaxy. It moves all over the place, and yet we're still, in a perfect, habitat environment. That's like a huge, huge question.
It's very good. It's very good, because it's like, it shouldn't be that good. That's perfect.
And also
it's
the sun, moon, like when we were living, the sun, moon, the same size.
Yeah.
But within millions of years, the moon was seemed bigger than the sun, because the moon was closer. And now the moon's gonna go far away.
It's the very fact that it's a coincidence that you can have on a solar eclipse.
That's a very strange coincidence.
Yeah, because it's like it's exactly perfect. It's like it was made. It's almost like a clock. Like in a clock, there's three things on a clock. You have the minute, the hour, and then you have the second hand. And so throughout the day, the sun moves like the second hand around us. And then we have the moon moving like one of the hour hands, and you have like the sky itself moves like the hour hand or minute hand. And so it's like, I got them all messed up there. But it's
Clockwise,
like clock, right? And they all move in like the clock. And so we make clocks after the motion of the sun and moon and stars. And so that's how we determine. The Bible says that this is the reason God gave it to us, so we can understand time, season, and also light on the earth. It's interesting, because it's like, people get into like astrology and things like that, and start worshiping the sun and the moon and the stars and all of that. But the thing is, like, the reality is, those are not for us to worship. Those are for us to consider how awesome God is. God can set a divine clock in order, and He shows us things that are going to happen. Like even in the birth of Jesus, they would follow the star. The Magi would follow the star, and they would come right to where he was when he was a child. You have the wise men, and how God would lead people to where He wanted to go, and then they were given the lunar calendar. The Passover and all the calendars are designed after the moon, and not the sun. It's like you have the Egyptians. They were always about the sun and worshiping the sun god Ra. And you have the Greek worshiping Helios, the sun god Helios. But then it's like He's in the center, but God always puts the sun. The sun is not as important, Paul mentions that in the end time that when the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give her light. The Bible says this. And the moon will not give her light. It says, then it's like the stars will fall out of the sky. It's like they're all independent of each other. The moon is dependent of the sun is dependent of the stars, and the stars are going to fall out of the sky. All the stars are going to fall out of the sky and going to fall to the earth, which is one of the big proofs for me that I understand that the sun, moon, and stars are one culture, and so the stars themselves are not giant gas balls of fire.
There's limit to the sky.
Yeah, because
in the heliocentric model, they portray that there's dangerous, like outside our, the dangerous radiation, like gamma rays, and all this huge amount of radiation that's the most deadly thing ever, even deadlier than the sun. And it can zap, like warping all throughout the universe that destroy planets, hazardous planets that make it more hazardous. But it's like
Right.
here, we're not any gamma rays radiation. So how do we sense that? How do we perceive that? But then they perceive that there's dangerous gamma ray radiation flying across the universe. So you just put in the heliocentric model.
Maybe it's like the thing where they say, like, in the ocean, unknown area, is like there's monsters in the sea. Kind of thing what they have with the ship when they made the
They can
maps and
track
stuff
all the
like that.
comets and how they move every cycle. How the comets move every cycle. You see that certain comets come out and then they go back some other places. So these are all up for questions, and that's what we need to do.
I guess it would be like one of the things about the questions that the thing with
It's
the
like the
sky.
dangerous radiation we were taught, like how dangerous the heliocentric or outer space is, and how if we go in there, will we get vaporized by the radiation or the gamma rays that comes around? And how are we so lucky that our Earth has just the system that protects us all the time and stuff? And that's
Exactly.
for a question too.
Because you look at it, there's definitely a specific design there. When you look at how it's made, there is a specific design that cannot be overlooked because what happens is like the design that is made is uniquely designed for us people to look and to see and to look up. It's like why is it that we can see so much further up that we can't see across? That was another question I always had. Why do we see so much further, quote unquote, millions of light years away straight up? We can only see like maybe 6 or 7 or 8 miles at the most across. Unless we have a telescope or we have an infrared camera or something. It's like our eyes are limited. And like Jeranism talks about how each of us has a personal dome above our head. So when we look up and we see we're underneath a cloud, when somebody looks over and they see us where we are, they see the clouds on the ground. The clouds on the ground compared to where they are. So for us, the clouds are high above us, but to them, the clouds on the ground. When they look at across and see where they are. So for us, we look over there and the clouds on the ground too. So it's kind of like the clouds are always like the whole finger thing I did before with that. When the fingers are the same, and when you take them and you kind of like one goes forward, one goes back, one gets smaller. It's all about perspective, a little perspective. And so one is huge, but it's actually the same size. They're the same size, the fingers. So the bottom line is that you have a thing where that's kind of the scenario there. So one thing I was going to say was these limits that they place upon us, and they don't want us to find. For example, in our treaty, the design that we just can't walk over there and go there. I've had many friends. There was a guy I was talking with, who I went to, talking about, and he said to me that there's so many people that go across, Antarctica all the time. They go all the time across Antarctica. It's in that what we're saying is not true. But then I said, well, if you wanted to go there, how would you get there? So I can't really go there. Why can't you go there? Because it's going to cost a lot of money. It's very expensive, very dangerous environment. Well, there's monsters over there. I can't go. Right? Can't see it. So the same thing like with the maps. Oh, you're going to fall. You're going to fall the edge of the earth, right? And so, but then we're like, you can't fall off the edge of the earth because it depends on which camp you're in. There's the infinite plane, and also there's the ice wall. Ice wall is the ring of Antarctica that separates us and keeps us from getting any further. And then there's the military itself that keeps us from going further. And so you can go like this way around it, but you can't go out to the wall or to the furthest extent. You just can't keep going quote unquote
You just
south.
can't go deep in.
You can't go south. It won't let you go. It'd be kind of interesting for them to do that. I would love to actually go on an expedition to do that. Like get a plane.
Hopefully in the future there will be an expedition.
Yeah. But there was a guy a couple of years ago. He was going to do like I forget his name, but he did like a chill video or something that was kind of like moving. I didn't watch it. And a friend of mine pointed out to me that he was going to be like he went to the Flat Earth conference last year, and he was going to do like a trip to Antarctica or something like that. And so Robbie Davison had to talk to him about that. I can't remember the name of the guy right now, but it was some guy.
There was actually we had last summer we had a meetup of one guy. In Times Square we had a meetup of Howard T was there, and the rest of the local Flat Earth were there, and one guy I think his name was Mike. He's in our local New York. He said that he's trying to. He has a website called exploreagain.com.
Explore again?
Yeah.
So explore again.
Exploreagain.com. That's their website.
Explore
So yeah, they told me about that.
again.
And they're gonna do that expedition, this future expedition for the
That
town.
must be like pretty expensive to do that. How would you?
They have their own website and they update all that.
Cool. So exploreagain.com. Exploreagain.com.
Yeah, Mike, he's a New Yorker. He's from here. I'll be the people at the meetup.
We gotta meet up. We gotta go see.
But he came once. I didn't see him next time.
The guy was here.
I met him last year. I met him
Who's the guy who's David, right? We met David last month.
You know, no, I'm talking about the one before I met you.
Okay.
Before I met you, I was in Narragansett, and the rest of the New York fathers were there too. Alex and Barre and all the people, and then we had a few more in Brooklyn.
I have to meet the rest of the team. I gotta definitely go
So
meet them.
they hang out in Brooklyn, around that area.
I'll have to go do that at some point.
Some there come from Jersey City, and
Yeah.
some places.
Oh, we're on vacation now, so we're like on our vacation. We're gonna go to travel, and after we're traveling, I'm telling you where we're gonna go, but only those who know where we're gonna go know where we're gonna go. So, but we're hoping to travel. And the thing is, like, it depends on how much time we have, you know. Because I mean, like, vacations go by so quick; they go by really quick. So you don't have much time for stuff, you know. But I want to say a couple of things. So,
You like his shirt? So he's designing himself. But don't hit your head on the light, right?
And it's very scientific.
I think it's this is actually this is the United Nations map. So it looks like this. So I got a nice bag to go with that, yes. And then on the back it has the what do you see? What do you see? What you're supposed to see, and what goes into space, and how right here is what we see, and always we end up seeing that. We don't see anything else but that. You know? So, did you ever see the movie Behind the Curtain?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it on the open in 23rd Street, that theater, the Annapolis theater. I saw it with West of the Platter.
What do you think about it? What do you think about it? Like, some of the questions that they raised up made me think about something.
So basically, what they hit piece against them, they
Yeah.
want to propagate their own thing, and they're already cool. That's the overall thing, but at least they got the exposure on the concept of the bomb. That's positive. That's the main positive for them.
I just saw, I put that up on it. Then somebody just put a mirror,
Yeah.
and they were able to.
Someone was able to put a mirror and able to show that this is like a 13.23 miles, and that here it goes that the
They were able to reflect it.
Monterey Bay Mirror observation, 13.23 miles, 82 missing feet of curve. And then you see the Earth is flat. So yeah.
So I'm learning too. When I see stuff like some flat Earth friends on Facebook, and I don't know they're flat Earth, but every so often they put up a meme or something, and I'm like, that makes you think, like, oh, I didn't see that. And there was another one, I think you put that up too, I'm sorry. There was another one about how, God made the sun on what day? Day four. Okay, so, and when did he make the earth?
I mean on day one.
Day one, right? So if he made the earth on day one, and then the sun on day four, what was the earth,
Rotating around.
Yeah. Okay, so for how, what was it? It just seems like God didn't make it the way they're saying it does. You know what I'm saying, right? So he based it upon that the sun was not, I don't know, this is a thought that I had.
Well, that's good. I just realized that my video's on the list because nobody knows it. But it's okay, we'll post it later.
No, I'm just saying, if God made Earth on the day one, and then he made the sun day four, and it was supposedly the Earth is rotating around the sun.
Right.
So he never based it on that anyway. It seems like NASA and all these things are always doing something that's counter-biblical, counter something where you find out, like the Bible says the moon is a light. But then NASA and all the science says, oh, well, the moon gets its light from the sun. And I'm like, what? The Bible says this. And then you're saying, science is saying this. I don't know, you read things and you're like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Those are some things that I say, hey, that makes you think. What's going on?
Wow, it's actually showing us right here. We're like right there. See us Right here. This is like the future. See, like the future? We're actually in the future, and it's actually showing us the past.
That's the
That's
only
pretty
technology
cool.
they developed.
Yeah.
So only improvements these computerized technology, smartphones, like the ability of streaming things. That's pretty much they made progress on that in the past, what, 40, 50 years.
No, I was thinking the whole thing with the 5G.
Yeah, 5G.
It's like, what is that for? Just to get live streaming faster.
But they never had the capability to go back and do something else.
Yes, they say they lost all the
But
technology
they
to
didn't
be
use
able
this
to go.
technology, they just found this technology progressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Functions of computers,
Yeah.
how they operate.
Yeah. It's what, like how they had the computer all in one room is so huge back when they were first developing computers. And now we have this, but yet they can't say,
Skyscraper like over 3,000
I know.
3,000 feet skyscraper.
right? What's the
Right.
Dubai one?
Yeah, 'cause like they say that all of it, but for example, we still can't do what they did in terms of the pyramids. Like what they did with the pyramids are so much better that we can't even copy that to this day. I mean, the pyramids are so like complex and like, when you build it, like, you can't figure out how to do that even today.
What was the pyramids? They point straight to, no, but they point straight to certain stars or something?
I think the Orion's belt.
Yeah, so if those things point to the same stars
Uh-huh. You right? Go ahead.
and it never changes,
Right.
so we're not rotating. Right?
Right. We're not working. We're stationary.
You're stationary.
We are where we
If
are.
you build these big, gigantic pyramids, and they're pointing right to the stars. And when it never changes, it's always pointing to the stars. That means we're stationary. We're not moving. If it was moving, then they wouldn't be always pointing to the stars.
That was 3,000.
I know. It's like, what?
The star should have been shifted by now.
Yeah, I know. It just, I don't know. It's just so weird. What are they trying to hide? What do you think? What are
That's
they
why
trying to
the
hide?
mainstream astronomy is there's a problem with mainstream astronomy. When they learn astrophysics,
Yeah.
that's where they get the concept. See the animation, they see how the model works.
Yeah.
They're ingrained to the document.
To fight it or shoot the nail.
That's the problem because they've never experienced it.
Right. I was just like, I said, what do you think they're trying to hide?
They're trying to hide God. They're trying to hide God from being.
That's
They realize that if you know, if people see that we know God, right, what will happen is that they will actually overthrow all the governments of the world. The Bible says, like in Psalm chapter 2, it says, so why did the nations rage? Why did the nations rage against God, you know? It says, he who sits in heaven shall laugh. It says, he who sits in heaven shall laugh. It's Psalm chapter 2. It says that they try to fight against the Most High. Try to fight against God. And the bottom line is that you can't. Eventually, just like they say, the sun, the moon, and the truth are things that cannot be hidden from us. We always see the sun, we always see the moon, we always see the truth. The truth will be known as well. Eventually, the truth comes out. And that's one of those things.
You'll see the same celestial bodies and stuff. Celestial bodies.
Right. We keep saying the exact same one.
In our lifetime, we
Exact
saw it.
same
We
one.
saw it our whole life.
But the thing about that, though, we were talking about this before, about the whole thing with the meteorites and comets and meteorites and things that strike the Earth, you know. So you see, for example, whenever you see like a falling star, it never falls up, around the curve going up kind of thing. It always comes down. No matter where you are, you always see the things coming down. You always see the rush hour.
And they're in a certain direction.
Yeah, or moving away or something. But then so you talk about the craters on the moon. And how did craters on the moon form? That's a subject I want to talk about next time we meet up again, because that's something that's a big topic. And so many topics, but
How do you know that the moon is a terra firma like this?
yeah, that's what it is. How do we know? We just do.
How do
We
you know
don't
it's a
know.
solid?
It looks like the craters. Like, for example,
We see the one side of the moon all of it.
right. So it could be like a half dish. The guy did that one. He had a paint. And he had the same color of the sky, and he had like a dome thingy, like a dome moon shape, and they picked it up. And we did, he made it half moon, and it made half moon, full moon, things like that. So it's kind of like, you know, they say that it actually, it's not about the way the dome is shaped. It causes this. It could be a projection. Remember, there's a projection itself, you know. And so we see a projection of light as opposed to an actual physical object. You know? because it's like we can't like they say about Neil deGrasse Tyson always says about how we're made of star stuff, and then what's Sam also said too the same thing that we are star stuff, but he's never been to stars. He's never got to walk at a star, put it in a jar, and look at it and say, hey, you know,
I don't even know what star stuff
what
is.
star stuff is. All
You're made out of it.
You see, oh, there's a light over there. I guess you must be made out of the light's basketball. The basketball is the same as the light of it. Because they believe the Big Bang. So the Big Bang, boom, then everything is Big Bang is going to come to there as well.
And that's the heliocentric propagation. That's the propaganda they how do we test those things?
Yeah, you know what they do?
What did they do with the carbon dating? How do we figure out this carbon dating? How did they 100% sure that it's just that
Yeah, kind of. There's kind of so what happens because here's something interesting too. All the celestial bodies are named after either symbols, but no, it's religious.
Water and
Symbols,
juice.
or they're named after Roman gods. Every one of the Romans and Greek gods, you know. You have Saturn, and you got Jupiter, and you got Mars, and you got, Venus, and you got Mercury, and you have Uranus and Pluto. All of them, every single one of them, Neptune, all of them are named after Roman gods. And then all the Greek equivalents, you got Poseidon, and you got Zeus, and you got the Aphrodite, and you have Hades, and then you have Hermes, and you have the only one that's not named after anything is Earth. Yeah, no one named Earth after a Greek god or a Roman god. But here you have it where all the celestial bodies are named after gods. False gods, right? So when you have science, talk about the separation of separation science from religion. Science has become a religion. Science has always been a religion.
Yeah, we call it scientism.
Hey, you got it.
It's not the real science, like the science of propaganda.
Right.
I spelled it wrong.
That's the thing, flat Earth proof. Well,
I was gonna say that the other day we went to Hall. Maybe we shouldn't say it.
Go ahead, say it.
Hall of Science.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Okay, so don't say it right.
Yeah, no, say it specific. What are you going to say?
Sorry. I was gonna say that. You're like, say it.
I don't know.
Okay. So we went to this museum, a local museum, and they had this thing where you could write something on a piece of paper and then stick it up on the wall. So my oldest son, was there, and he was putting stuff like that, research platter on the wall at the children's museum. So he was putting NASA stage, research platter. He was saying some things about, not to have abortion. It was like choose life. And some things about Jesus. So he was like filling up the wall with all these post-it notes at the museum. And I was like, you're gonna have to leave real quick before they find out whether through the video camera. But he was trying to spread some truth, people to think, hey, maybe we're not right after all. Maybe they're not teaching us the truth. Maybe we should open our eyes more.
Apparently, like in all the media and stuff like that, they keep telling us, we keep finding out every day that they're lying to us. They're lying to us about just about everything. Just the other day we had a thing about vaccination, and they had the outbreak, quote unquote outbreak. And then the outbreak was like, you say about it.
Well, it said that since like October, they've had like 153 cases of measles up in Rockland County. So, but they've all, healed, they've dealt with, and everything. And so, at the time, I think it's about 2 weeks ago or so, they had like 5 active cases. And they're like, it's an emergency! So, they decided to basically quarantine children or kick out the kids that are unvaccinated, that were not sick, that were not spreading measles. They kick out those kids. And then those parents basically went to court and proved that it was unconstitutional to do that, to, discriminate against them. So our state is trying to take our religious exemptions away to be able to choose not to vaccinate because of religious purposes. So then they're just continuously pressing vaccinations. And they're not saying, they're always saying they're safe and effective, but they're not saying, hey, they can cause injury and death. The side effects can be injury and
Very
death.
vocal about the side effects, you know?
Yeah, they're always saying, oh, you guys are refusing, and you guys are, or you're endangering everybody. But how can you spread a disease if you don't even have a disease?
Exactly.
And so, so they were ruled basically to allow the children to go back to school. And mainly they're Hasidic Jews up there in that area. So they, for religious reasons, they were not vaccinated because of unclean things to put into their body, which God says don't do that. Also, Christians don't want to do that either because there's aborted babies in the vaccines. And Muslims, if they're aware, they'll say that there's pig DNA and stuff like that. So I'm just saying that that's an interesting thing because not a lot of people are aware of that. They just believe whatever media says. They never research anything. They never open their eyes that it's all about money. And also, they don't want us to be healthy. They want us to be sick and always on medicine, always on everything.
I got a flu shot a year back.
Never again.
Because my mother forced me to get a flu shot.
Oh no!
From the flu. So they gave me a flu shot. Within 2 weeks, I started getting sick. And I think I had some fried food that night. The morning after, when I was sleeping through the night, I think my heart stopped. I couldn't breathe.
Wow.
My pressure was getting high.
Yeah.
I rushed to the bathroom. I just feel like I think I'm not going to make it. Something happened. Something bad happened inside my body. So I tried to go to the bathroom for feeling my heart. I couldn't breathe. My pressure was so high. I had to move on, so I had to finish my business in my bathroom. After that, I had to walk around the room for a good hour, in the middle of the night, my heart started, I couldn't breathe. And then I asked my dad to check my pressure. He checked my pressure was high.
Wow.
My pressure was high, and then I called my mom and said, okay, let me rush to the hospital this morning. So that morning, I rushed to the hospital. The healthcare system is not that good, so I had to wait the whole day, throughout you need to wait for the doctor throughout the evening.
Yeah, to be seen.
8 hours. I waited to the doctor, and I was just walking around with my mask on because there are other people with the flu.
Yeah.
And they diagnosed it, and then they said that you need some ginger and have some antibiotics. They found there was some kind of gastritis, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the flu vaccine is filled with a lot of bad chemicals, and that we should not be getting.
They don't clean it. It's kind of a virus.
Yeah, well, the thing is based upon last year's flu strain, and you got a new one, and they're always changing. They get stronger the next year or something. But if you look at the ingredients of a flu vaccine, it is like any of the vaccines. I mean, I could look up the stuff, but you don't want to do those things. Because it's better if you get the flu. If you get the flu, just get it like
get
again.
it passed, because otherwise you get it and then you got it worse.
Because the vaccines have heavy metals in them that are deposited to your brain.
They stay longer. The sickness stays with you longer, but it doesn't give you the immunity that you need. It's kind of like when you get really sick from a real disease, you get really healed from it forever. Your body remembers it. Your immune system is what makes you
Chicken
alive.
pox, measles, those things no one ever was scared about those before.
If you get a vaccination shot, what happens? Your body forgets. Your body forgets over 10 years. You have to get
And I had an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. Both endoscopy and colonoscopy.
Those are dangerous.
So
Before you go, next time we were recording.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to let you know that before you tell how.
Yeah, but
no,
no, he was
So I had to go through all that stuff.
Yeah.
All because of the flu.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, those things are side effects. If you look at the CDC, I mean, they don't tell the truth about a lot of things, but they do, say, some side effects of these things. You know that you can actually get paralyzed.
Vaccine gives you side effects.
Yeah, you can actually get paralyzed from the vaccine.
And my mother, she's really concerned about this. She's concerned for everyone that we need to, when she hears that news, we stay away from these flu. these dangerous foods, you have to get vaccinated. But they force me to do
Yeah,
this.
You just say no.
You say no, so you know,
Say no.
I'll be alright.
Say
So
no
I
to
go through all
drugs.
that process. I'm reading my healthcare and all this. I'm working with all these checkups.
Say no to drugs.
Yeah, right, for real, yeah.
Say no to drugs. Say no to pharma drugs. Well, the thing is, they really affect your brain. So you put all that heavy metal in your brain, and then you have to detox. And you have to detox. You could take detox baths, or foot detox, whatever. And you just have to like really get that stuff. I don't know where the thing is, but.
It's weird, like, the going try to find something too, I can't really find it right now, so in the midst of everything, I think you have to have everything written on paper, because when you do like things electronically, things don't want to work, you know? Things want to work when you do stuff electronically. And,
Well, they actually have a thing here called VAERS. If you get, like, say you got the flu vaccine and you had a side effect, you have to report it. There's actually a vaccine adverse event reporting system. And you basically tell them what happened. Tell them what you did. You got the shot. This is how you felt afterwards. This is da da da. And you basically report it because we are their guinea pigs. Okay? Yes, they test stuff. We are their test subjects. Okay? So there is a whole process. And if you are injured like a lot to the point of not being able to work anymore or something like that, there is also a vaccine court that you sue. You can't sue the pharmaceutical companies.
They're exempt.
They're exempt being sued. But you sue, it's like a court system. Basically, we're suing the taxpayers instead of actually, and then he doesn't want to help. He doesn't want to go to any of my stuff. Right?
Yeah, it's weird like that.
It's so weird to have all this stuff downloaded.
The electromagnetic presence of, like, people thinking. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, that when you have important something to do, people call you, and you're like in the middle of something really important, you get people to call you, and you're just like, you have the whole day to call you, and it's like it's quiet for your tired day, but you start thinking, I gotta go do this thing really important. All of a sudden, the phone rings off the hook. You always people call and you want to talk to you about stuff.
I got this. Okay.
You got it? Okay, good.
What's in vaccines? Cells and blood from animals, Vero and MDCK cells, bovine, aluminum, not aluminum foil, but the aluminum that will deposit into your brain. Okay? Formaldehyde that basically, for dead people, formaldehyde to preserve, the dead bodies. MSG. So if you have allergies to MSG, you can't have Chinese food kind of thing. They have mercury, they have yeast, they even have, what's it called? Antifreeze, coolant.
Yeah.
Okay? Aborted fetal tissue. E. coli. All these big reports. E. coli in the lettuce. E. coli. Well, guess what? E. coli is in your vaccines. And they tell us, don't eat the lettuce, don't eat the lettuce. But no, get vaccinated. Antibiotics. Okay?
Antibiotics, that's
Yeah.
that destroy all kinds of bacteria.
Yes, exactly. The good and the bad. I mean, if you have an emergency, maybe, yeah.
Antibiotics destroy all the bacteria.
They said, okay, wait. They have side effects, they kill, vaccine, they have, this is what it is. It says here, back in 1962, there was a total doses of 6 vaccines. 1983 is 24 vaccines. Now, we're in 2019, but 2018 it was up to 74 vaccines. Okay, now tell me, back in the day you hardly had any, and now they're pressing more and more and more for us. So if you can, you stay away. Stay away from them. Yeah. So this is actually the one they recorded. Now, before they never ever suggested pregnant women getting vaccines because it goes straight to the baby. Well, now they really don't care. They want those pregnant women to get vaccinated. And guess what? It causes fetal demise. Your baby dies. And there's no testing on pregnant women. We are the guinea pigs. Look, they're telling, the pregnant woman, get your flu vaccine. Well, guess what? All that stuff goes straight to the baby. Oh, get the DTaP. They never, I mean, I've been pregnant 4 times. They never ever suggested me to get any vaccine because it would cause the baby to die inside of me.
They're drinking alcohol. So you don't take alcohol, you can't take any pain medicine.
It was Hillary Clinton on the Democrats. They want to do this anti-abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're
They're pro-abortion.
Yeah, they're pro-abortion. They want to, they want to destroy all the life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they have a thing called Georgia Guidestones where they tell you very clearly what they want to do in terms of depopulating the earth. If 500 million people is the maximum number they want to have. So if you can kill off
You heard about
billion,
Agenda 21?
yes, Agenda 21, yeah. Yeah, I don't know 100% about it, but I've had a couple of friends
60% of the population is
wipe out. Yeah, because remember, if the Georgia Guidestone says 500 million people, that means that, we have, 9 billion people, or 6 billion people? Actually, 7 billion people right now. To get down from 7 billion to 500 million, that's a lot.
That's probably like 4 billion people.
Yeah, you can wipe out. No, that's actually like 6 billion people gotta kill. 540 billion people have to die.
This one, but it,
5 billion, 400 million.
it says that the reason why they want to keep the abortion thing going is because you have to create vaccines with aborted fetal lines. So the vaccines that contain viruses cultured from aborted fetuses are DTaP, MMR, Hep A, Hep B, HIV, chickenpox, shingles, polio, and rabies. So it says autoimmune disease triggers. So if you have something lying inside you and you get like something that's gonna make you sick, but you get vaccinated, it actually brings that out. Like it brings it. So it says some of the viruses are specific to humans and only grow in human flesh. In order to grow enough of them, they have to use fast-growing flesh. Yes. Fetal tissue grows fast. When the cells replicate, they produce more virus. But the virus is in the cell. To get it into the vaccine, there is no way to completely dislodge it from the fetal tissue. So the fetal tissue ends up in the what? Vaccine. So you're a guy. You might get the fetal tissue from a girl, aborted baby. What could that do? It could be changing your DNA.
Oh, so that's why there's like this
The people that are
transgender.
well, because sometimes I can.
Their hormones. Their hormones
Sometimes that's what
have
they're
been
saying.
interested in sex.
This is what if I'm putting girl, DNA aborted into a man, and then a man's into
There
a
are
woman.
cases of that.
Yeah, so that people are getting they're not knowing exactly what sex they are and everything like that because yes, I mean I don't know all the information about that, but that could be a cause because we're putting other just knowing that you're putting another person's DNA in you. We're not supposed to be doing that. I mean, it's a lot of yes.
Your body will find another DNA in your body.
And it basically lets you.
But then that's intentionally done.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what was that Vassal man with the guy, the thing, the satanic creature, whatever. It has boobies. It's a man-female kind of satanic creature. It's like I never even knew that. Like what? Trying to not allow us to, just getting into a lot of stuff, but when you start thinking about things, I mean, there's a whole bunch of documentaries, vaccine documentaries. Okay, the greater good, vaccination, the hidden truth, Denmark documentary, HPV vaccine. You have Vaxxed, and they're coming out with a Vax 2.
Wow.
Okay, man-made epidemic, 50 cents a dose, direct orders, DTaP vaccine roulette, like Russian roulette. basically shots in the dark, hear the silence, research and stop poisoning your children and yourself. Most of these are available on YouTube. So basically it's like a billion documentaries, people not being paid by pharma. They're just trying to share the truth of what happened to them and their family. And they're not making any money in the sense of big millions and billions and billions of dollars like pharma is. They're just trying to spread the information and try to keep other families from being injured like them or killed. Because you know what SIDS is, right? SIDS is like short, sudden infant death syndrome. And they have been saying this for years, that babies that have been recently went to the doctor for a well visit and vaccinations were given to them, healthy babies, all of a sudden dead in their bed. It's caused by vaccine injury. So these healthy babies, they go get a well visit, and then they die in their bed.
They don't know why they
And
died.
there's no blanket choking them or muffling their breathing. All of a sudden, they're just dead.
The thing is interesting is that every person is important. Everybody has a value. Everybody has a certain goal to accomplish while they're here on Earth. Otherwise, they wouldn't be born. They wouldn't be here. They wouldn't come into existence. And so when a person, whenever there's, back in the time when Jesus was about to come into the world, right? Herod had a thing where they wanted to kill off all the babies.
Right.
And the rest of the thing is when it happens, people they don't like. They want to kill off all the people they don't like. So you have people always trying to minimize and desecrate or destroy or oppress. And the reason is like they do that is because they don't value individuals, don't value people's lives. So when you think about how important our life is and how it's like important that God has opened our eyes to this flat earth movement and also to the other things about vaccinations and about the agendas that are going on and how education is like messed up. It's like it's not teaching us anything. They're teaching us how to be workers, how to be like slaves to the system, how to not teaching us to be like independent thinkers. They teach us how to be program thinkers. You get rewarded for being able to regurgitate, when you recite what's in front of you very well, you get rewarded for that. But they don't reward you for thinking, But they say in job that we are here to problem solve. The reason why you have a job is to problem solve, to help the company get more money, but also to problem solve and to make life better for the world. So I thank God all the time that He opened our eyes this year, the opportunity for us to be able to see this, I hope to be able to share this with more people and more people will be able to know that we are not crazy and knowing that we can be any test you put out there for us. But the bottom line is why is it so important to us? Because it's the truth. One thing about truth is that truth really sets people free. When your mind is free and that people can actually hear and know you are important, you matter, that God made you for a specific reason. That you have a goal to accomplish here on earth, and you have life, you have purpose, you have value. It's not one of those things where it's like, you're random chaos and random chaos space, and you were just here because of a random explosion. You were put here by a divine God, by a divine entity who is God, and He gave you wisdom to be smarter than the animals, to do things that animals can't do, to be something that that angels look at us and they admire and they want to be like us, And we have the opportunity to serve God or serve ourselves. If we serve God, we can do great, wonderful things. If we serve ourselves, we can do wonderful things too, but eventually it's going to lead to vanity. And so vanity is not where you want to end up. So long story short, you want something that's going to be worthwhile. You don't be left. You only have life for a certain amount of time. We don't know when the end of our days is. And so what happens is that when you use your time wisely, you change generations. The Bible says, "He who corrects a sinner from the error of his ways shall save a multitude, shall save a soul and cover a multitude of sins." Right? The Bible says there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how when you do what's right in God's sight, you'll shine like the sun. You'll shine like the sun, and you'll be like I can find it real quick for you. It says right here, it's all in the firmament. Find it real quick for you. It says about like how the firmament, it's the machines and everything like that. It says that right here. Find it for you. I hope it's still there. And it's still there. Yeah, okay, cool. It's still there. Okay. In Daniel chapter 12, verse 3, it says, "And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever." Right. So there's many verses. There's actually 17 verses in the Bible talk about firmament. I'll put a list in the links so you can see it. But there's 17 verses talk about the firmament. Each time we talk about the firmament, it's something distinct, and it's not just the sky. It's that which is above the sky, and it's always something that beneath the throne of God. So when he said that we shall shine like the firmament, that's something that's awesome. That means that we're gonna shine, and all the world can see that what we do. Because each of us is important. So I just want to say, that thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching our presentation, and our conversations. We're here eating tacos at Taco Bell, talking flat earth stuff. So it's been really good. And again, we hope to have another meeting again next week. Hopefully more people. And it was great to have Professor Sunny here. Great to have Amy. Great to have the kids. Kids say hi. Hi. All right, it's great to have. And so I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. And, okay, yeah.
LearnTheRisk.org.
LearnTheRisk.org. Go to that.
Very curious about that. LearnTheRisk.org.
And there's also ExploreAgain.com. It's going to be in the link below, but for now, I just want to let you know that this is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so again, please research Flat Earth and find out for yourself whether it's truth or not. You'll search for yourself. If you are convinced, proceed. If you're not convinced, proceed. But bottom line, just research Flat Earth, Earth's on a globe, look at different proofs. Feel free to search and ask questions. Okay. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.